Welcome ladies and gents to my review of CALNE. That's right, it's your yearly Gerard Butler action movie. And you know what? I pretty enjoyed this, I'm not going to lie. I don't think this is a terrible film by any stretch of the imagination. It is what it is. It is 1 hour 47 of kinda paint by numbers action. But I enjoyed it a fair amount. Now I've got a screener to this, so I can't say to how this looks on the big screen. But again, I enjoyed it quite a lot. So, Gerard Butler plays pilot Brodie Torrance. And basically, he begins to save passengers from a lightning strike by making a risky landing on a war-torn island somewhere near the Philippines. Only to find that surviving the landing was just the beginning, when dangerous rebels take most of the passengers hostage, and the only person Torrance can count on for help is Louis Gaspar, an accused murderer who is being transported by the FBI, played by Mike Colter, of course, of Luke Cage fame. Now, again, I really enjoyed this film. I'm not going to lie. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. It's not one of those films where you're like, oh, you know, this is going to win multiple rounds of Oscars, but it doesn't need to. It is what it is. It is an action film. It's a feel-good film, and it does everything very well. The special effects are actually pretty decent, to be fair. The special effects are pretty damn decent. Now, this is directed by Jean-Francois Richet, and again, it's just a pretty decent film. I always do feel when I watch Gerard Butler in these films that, you know, maybe he feels like his acting career's gone downhill, but he seems to be having a really good time with it. So maybe that's just me and a certain element of, I don't know, I guess, you know, a bit of an upturned nose when it comes to these films. These always make decent money. These are not terrible films by any stretch, and again, they kind of serve their purpose. They work very well within the remit that they are marketed within. Again, it's kind of one of those films where you look at the trailer and you go, the trailer's showing me everything. But you know what? I still want to watch it. And I can recommend this film. I can genuinely recommend this film. It's an hour 47. It goes away at a nice brisk pace. There are a few things which I will say, look, I wish they expanded upon, right? So Mike Colter's Gaspar, right, Louis Gaspar, there obviously was more to that. There's more backstory when they sort of set about writing this film. And Mike Colter's a great actor. He's really good in this, and he's a big, beefy guy for his age. He's in great shape. And, you know, there clearly was more of a backstory there, but they don't elaborate on it. And they really should. If they did, I think this would have been better for it. I think this would have been, it sort of adds more layers and nuance. But then again, it elevates the film to something that it isn't. So it's kind of one of those things where you're like, should they have done it? Should they not? Is it better as it is? Is it better as it's not? Who knows at the end of the day? Personal preference, personal taste. But Gerard Butler and Mike Colter bounce off one another very well. Gerard Butler, again, pretty decent actor. I've always liked him from the moment I saw him in 300. He is a good actor. Again, I don't think he begrudges doing these roles. I think he has fun doing them, and they're a pretty good paycheck for him. They're good. There's really good direction in this. Again, you know, it is just an action film, or action thriller, however you want to call it. IMDb calls it an action thriller, but it's actually pretty well directed, and the special effects are pretty damn decent. Now, I'm no pilot. I don't know the lingo, or the lingo, however you want to phrase it, but that seemed really well thought out. In fact, avionics, the avionics are down. I'm like, oh my god, the avionics are down. I'm in there, you know? And the plane flying over the island, they're looking at, you know, the white caps. You know, that is a term. I do know that term. It's an element in terms of, on ships and things, white caps. The waves are really high. We're gonna have to ditch, and you could really feel it. You know, it was one of those films where it just does what it does, and it does it well. It's a decent little film. So a pretty strong recommendation from me. But again, go into it knowing full well that once you've seen the trailer, you've seen the whole film. But the action's very good. There are some bloody moments in this. There's some gigantic weaponry in this, where they're just blowing people away through cars. You know, not blowing a person through a car, but the bullet goes through a car and it impacts an individual and they go flying. It is brutal. And the elements with the rebels, you really did feel some of that. They were brutal in this, and they could have toned it down. They could have gone a bit sort of PC with it, and they didn't. And I think kudos to an action film that just doesn't care. They're just like, yeah, whatever. These are rebels. It doesn't matter that they're whatever skin colour they are. Let's just do it. Now, again, I've got to commend them for that. I enjoyed this film a fair amount. One thing I would say is that the score could have been better. The lighting in certain elements could have been better. Expanding stuff within the story could have been better. But you know what? It's fine as it is. It's a good beer flick, popcorn flick. A movie you watch with some buds. Do you have to watch this on the big screen? It'd probably be better on the big screen, quite frankly. And it's one of those movies that probably, you should watch on the big screen. I had a fairly decent time with it on a MacBook Pro, because I'm out in Thailand at the moment. But as a screener, yeah, I would say it probably would look much, much, much better on the big screen. And I probably would have appreciated it significantly more, because the visual effects are really decent in this, especially in the world of overblown superhero CGI and the amount they spend on it, and it still looks like crap. You look at this, you're like, oh, these are pretty decent actually, pretty good. Yeah, I'm down for that. It was all good. It was a really decent little action flick, and something I can strongly recommend for anyone that's a fan of just well-written action flicks. So there you have it, ladies and gents. If you've seen it, which I know some people have, I don't know when this is out, but I've had some comments coming through going, oh, I've seen that. So if you have seen it, let me know what you think. If you haven't, and you want to see it, let me know why. Leave your thoughts down below. Love to hear it. Please do check out the second channel, Mistakes Reviews Live Archives. There's been no uploads on that for a little while, because I'm, not in the country, not been able to do live streams, but they start again next week. So we will be restarting them. Back to the grind. But anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy this recommendation as much as I enjoyed watching it. Take care.